Hello and welcome back to day 2 of learning the first movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Yesterday I promised you guys that I was going to right away talk about the 7 essentials for analyzing a score, and that's the first thing I'm going to do. This technique was taught to me by my teacher, Dr. Robert Henry, and he used it in college to get his major and things like that. So it's a good technique. Anyway, the first kind of essential, the first key is melody. Like, just in general, the melody. Is there a melody? You know, what kind of melody is it? What makes up the melody? Is it like scales, like Mozart? You know, or more like arpeggios or whatever. And I think in this piece, the melody is mainly single notes. It's got some leaps. It's a lot of the time it stays inside just like one hand position, not too much like big leaps, but sometimes it moves around from like up here back down to here. Or maybe right here in measure 28, or no, that's 29. And that's it. That's basically how it is for the whole piece. There's no real scales. There's very, very little like complication in the melody. The second thing is harmony, and for harmony, it's like, what key is it in? Does it ever change keys? What types of chords are there? And so this piece is in C sharp minor, which is 4 sharps, and it does change keys a few times. It's not written in the score that it changes keys, but it definitely, like on the first page, it repeats the melody. After it goes through the whole first like idea, it repeats it again. So and in like E minor that time. So there are definitely some key changes there, but they're not explicitly written into the score. And I've identified all of the chords on the first page by their letter, but not by their Roman numeral. I'm going to hopefully work on that with my teachers, because I'm not very experienced with that. But I did my best. He's got some Neapolitan chords in it, which are interesting for his time period, and things like that. For form, which is the third thing, it's like what's the form? I mean, there's nothing complicated here. Like, is it ABA, AABB? Is it rondo? Is it sonata form? This is definitely sonata form, not only because it's a sonata, but because it's the first movement of a sonata, which is most often in this form. There's kind of 3 sections. There's the exposition, which is first. Then second is the development section, which which basically brings the piece from the exposition to the recapitulation, which is just the exposition but in a different key. And there's nothing real complicated for form in this piece. For rhythm, it's like for rhythm, I noticed in this piece, which is the fourth thing is rhythm. I noticed in this piece that there is every single measure, every single beat has triplets inside of it. It has 2 triplets. not once does he miss a single triplet or anything. There's just constant triplets until the second to last measure, when it's half notes, 2 half note chords, and then the whole note chord in the last measure. Let's see if I can read this. And that's the end of the piece. For the fifth item is texture, which is like, is there counterpoint to the melody? How do the voices interact with each other? Is it one voice accompanied by chords, or is it multiple voices singing at different points, like in Bach sometimes? And in this piece, I've noticed that, well, there definitely is counterpoint. There's some right at the bottom of page 1, and like measures 16 and 18. Yeah, but my point is, it goes in the left hand stands out for a bit. It's playing when the right hand melody is not, and it's not just the monotone chords that make up most of the left hand. It actually moves around a little bit and adds shape and variety and texture to the piece. And for voicing, there's clearly a melody, and then always accompanied by the triplets, and then there's the bass, which is the bass and the tenor are just mostly single chords, single octaves, and then the alto is the triplets, and then the soprano most of the time is the melody, but it moves around down to the tenors now and then the counterpoint that I just showed you is like bass and tenor. And the sixth item is instrumentation, which is like, what instrument is this piece written for? And this was written for piano, but not this piano. This was written for Beethoven's piano, which was a very different type of piano. It had less keys, for one. The keys were a lot lighter. They were a lot easier to press, and because of that, the pianos weren't as loud back then, and the notes didn't sustain for as long. Like, I can play one note and it'll stay on for a while, but if I was on like Beethoven's piano or one of the first pianos, the note would be dead right now, but it's still playing on mine. And this kind of ties into the next item, which is text, the seventh item, the final kind of key, which is literally what's written in the score. And it ties into instrumentation for this piece, because right at the beginning, Beethoven writes an entire sentence in Italian, and which translates directly to, you have to play the whole piece very delicately without dampening. So that literally means to hold down the damper pedal the whole time, the right pedal. And that, on Beethoven's piano, must have worked wonderfully, but if we do that on a piano today, it won't work wonderfully, because like the tones stay for longer, and the strings are literally longer and bigger, and notes just sustain for much, much longer than they used to. But we can compromise. We can push the pedal down a portion of the way, and I saw a lecture that by a famous pianist named Andras Schiff on this piece, and he commented that the pedal should be about a third of the way down on most modern day pianos for this piece, I'll link that lecture down there if you guys want to see it. Other than that, not only once does he write that, he writes it twice. He writes right above the line, below the tempo marking once, and then he writes it right there also. He doesn't write the whole sentence this time. Here he just has 5 words, always very soft without, this time he says muting, but it's the same thing. You never release the pedal pretty much through the whole piece. Other than that, for text, there's not much. There's just right at the end one more little thing, which is proceed immediately to the following. In the last measure, I'm not quite sure what it's referring to. I think it means like not. I think it means to not take too much rubato in the last chords to keep it in time. But other than that, it's basically just some ties, some slurs. There's not very many dynamic markings, just the occasional crescendo or decrescendo. And there's pianissimo markings and piano markings. That's basically the range of dynamics for this piece. We're never going above piano. And so I've only really analyzed in depth the first page, but I'm planning on doing the second page between now and tomorrow's recording, and I will talk about that some with you guys. But for now, I'm going to try to sight read the first page, which I haven't done yet, and I've never been good at sight reading, so this is going to be interesting. That's the whole first page. I'm gonna do it one more time because that was pretty rough. But there's in my edition, there's 3 pages in the piece, so that's a third of the piece right there. It doesn't seem, it's not at all, it's not very difficult so far. Like, technically difficult, you know? Like, nothing near the caliber of something like La Campanella. It seems pretty simple, honestly, the notes do at least. To mark this section that needs work, and I'm going to back up a little bit. I think I'll go to like measure 3 and work on a little bit alone with the right hand all the way through measure 5, and then try to put it back together. This C sharp in the end of measure 4 there. Keep playing a B natural. I mean a B sharp, not C sharp. I keep playing a B natural. I should mark that too, that E in the right down there in the right hand. Alright, yeah, that's the right hand. Alright. That's not legible. I'm also I forgot to mention this, but I'll be putting a link in the description for my copy of the score with the annotations in it that I'm making, if you guys want to have a look at that. Okay. I got it once, but this I never just do a section once correctly. I like to go back and do it multiple times, and I usually do it 4 times in a row perfectly, because one of my teachers, Dr. Robert Henry again, taught me that the human brain, we like the number 3 in everything, and like, you know, 3 is the magic number, so doing a section 4 times as opposed to 3 times, which is what most people do, makes it feel like we're going above and beyond what's really necessary, and we're really getting this section forever, and we'll never have to work on it again. So that's the idea. In measure 4 on the last time, so I have to restart. I can't count that as my last one. I have to restart, so that would be the first time correctly. that's the one that keeps getting me. E flat instead of an E natural. I just last month I was working on the Debussy, a piece by Debussy called The Girl with the Flaxen Hair, and it was in like 6 flats, I think. Maybe it was 5 or 6 flats was the key signature. So now I'm used to playing every note flat when I'm so. There's one. There's 2. There's 3. Shoot. All right. So close. Alright, that was 2. That was 3. There we go. That's it. So now I'm going to try to do it 4 times with the left hand also. Some more sharps, because I'm still used to playing everything flat. tried to go on, but didn't really work out. So I'm gonna pay close attention. I'm gonna try to sight read through the entire first page one more time without any errors. I'm just gonna restart because that was... That's what I did wrong. Okay, I'm gonna... That's the whole first page. I've done a lot of work. I think I'm going to call it a day, but I will be back tomorrow with more of the first page, and I'm going to analyze the second page, and we'll see what happens with that. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.